Welcome to Nutrition News Monthly, where we examine the science behind today's nutrition headlines. I'm MaryAnn Walsh, a registered dietitian of nearly 15 years and a PhD candidate. And this September, we're covering 4 key areas that are shaping the nutrition landscape, starting with social media's influence on consumer trends, and then shifting to significant mergers and acquisitions in the food industry, followed by groundbreaking research developments, and then following that with important legislative and policy changes. So from September's viral TikTok trends to a major food industry merger worth $3.1 billion. This month brings significant developments that affect how Americans eat and think about food. So let's dive into the data. We begin with September's social media developments, where concerning patterns continue around nutrition information, despite widespread awareness of the problem. This month saw several viral TikTok trends that indirectly relate to nutrition and wellness behaviors. The "Unfortunately I Do Love" trend had users confessing guilty pleasures, often centered around late-night food orders and eating habits. Meanwhile, the "Firefighter Outfit Hack" trend promotes ultra-fast meal prep techniques that mirror emergency response protocols. September's social media landscape has been dominated by what trend analysts call emotional honesty wrapped in entertainment, with creators sharing more authentic content about their relationships with food and body image. The persistent issue of nutrition misinformation remains critical, with recent studies showing only 2.1% of nutrition content on TikTok meeting accuracy standards when compared to public health guidelines. This research, analyzing over 67,000 videos, found that 57% of millennial and Gen Z users report being influenced by nutrition trends that they encounter on the platform. Of particular concern, 30% of users admit trying trends despite potential health risks, and 31% report experiencing adverse effects from bad diet content that they found on social media. Registered dietitian and nutrition and health professionals continue adapting their educational strategies to combat this misinformation. September saw an increased use of trendy education approaches, leveraging popular audio clips and viral formats to deliver evidence-based nutrition messages. The Bob Ross motivational audio trend, which emphasizes that talent is a pursued interest, has been particularly effective for nutrition and wellness professionals, demonstrating that healthy cooking skills can develop through practice rather than innate ability. September data indicates that 54% of TikTok users engage with brand content daily, making trend-driven nutrition content essential for reaching younger demographics. Food and beverage brands are increasingly incorporating viral sounds and formats into their educational content strategies. The challenge remains balancing entertainment value with scientific accuracy as audiences gravitate toward content that feels authentic and relatable rather than overtly educational. These developments underscore the continued need for evidence-based nutrition professionals and health professionals to meet audiences where they are, using popular platforms and formats to deliver accurate health information. Moving to mergers and acquisitions and industry consolidation, September brought a significant mega deal and continued strategic positioning across the food sector. This month's biggest news came from WK Kellogg shareholders approving the company's $3.1 billion merger with Ferrero International at a special shareholder meeting on September 19th. This transaction represents one of the year's largest food industry consolidations, with Ferrero acquiring the cereal manufacturer to expand its North American presence. The deal closed late in September, marking Ferrero's strategic move beyond its traditional confectionery business into the breakfast cereal market. The food sector continues experiencing bifurcated consumer behavior, with high-income consumers maintaining demand for premium products, while middle to low income consumers are trading down to more value-oriented alternatives. This trend has created robust M&A opportunities as companies seek to capture market share across different price segments. General Mills previously announced $2.1 billion sale of its North American yogurt processing business to French dairy companies Lactalis and Sodial, reflects this broader strategy of divesting non-core assets to focus on high-growth, high-margin products. Going to the plant-based sector activity, August's V2 Food acquisition of plant-based chicken startup Daring Foods continues to impact September's discussions about consolidation in the alternative protein sector. Industry observers note continued interest in plant-based companies despite broader market challenges facing the category. Food industry consolidation remains active despite broader economic uncertainties. Companies continue pursuing strategic acquisitions to achieve economies of scale, expand geographic reach, and adapt to changing consumer preferences. The combination of available capital, strategic positioning needs, and normalized valuation expectations suggests continued M&A activity through the remainder of 2025, though at potentially more of a measured pace than in previous years. Turning to recent scientific developments, September brought several significant research publications and ongoing studies across multiple areas of nutrition science. A nutrition journal published several notable studies this month. On September 23rd, researchers published findings on skeletal muscle health and nutrition relationships, analyzing how dietary factors contribute to muscle composition and functionality in aging populations. A September 9th study examined avananthramides and avanocosides, say that 5 times fast, as unique biomarkers for oat intake, potentially providing more accurate measures and methods for assessing whole grain consumption in population studies. Another significant September 9th publication analyzed how oral microbiome diversity and diet quality synergistically affect frailty in U.S. populations, suggesting new connections between gut health and physical decline. Published on September 7th, new research investigated associations between adherence to the Eat-Lancet planetary health diet and the odds of irritable bowel syndrome and functional dyspepsia. This represents the first study examining these specific relationships, contributing to our understanding of how sustainable eating patterns can affect digestive health. A comprehensive review published on September 9th in Frontiers in Nutrition examined multi-component community nutrition interventions for reducing stunting in children in low and middle income countries. This research synthesized evidence from studies implementing comprehensive, community-based nutritional care programs, highlighting which strategies demonstrated overall clinical and economic benefits. September 23rd brought new meta-analysis findings on the Dietary Inflammatory Index and colorectal cancer risk. While the association between inflammatory dietary patterns and colorectal cancer has been extensively studied, this research aimed to resolve inconsistent findings in the literature. September publications continue emphasizing personalized nutrition approaches, with studies examining individual responses to dietary interventions and these dietary interventions based on genetic and microbiome factors. The field increasingly recognizes that standardized dietary recommendations may not be optimal for all individuals. Research into food system sustainability and nutritional quality also gained attention, with studies examining how different agricultural practices affect both environmental outcomes and nutritional density of produce. These developments reflect nutrition science's evolution towards more precision-based, environmentally conscious approaches to dietary recommendations. Finally, we're going to examine recent regulatory developments, where the focus has shifted to the implementation of earlier 2025 rules and ongoing regulatory review processes. As of September 2025, the food industry is navigating the implementation of regulations introduced earlier this year. These regulations include the updated healthy nutrient content claim definition that became effective February 25th, with full compliance being required by February 28th. The front of package nutrition labeling proposed rule published in January has an extended comment period that ran through July 15th. Industry stakeholders submitted extensive feedback regarding the proposed nutrition info box format, with particular concerns about packaging redesign costs and consumer comprehension. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s directive to explore eliminating the self-affirmed, generally recognized as safe pathway continues progressing through September. The FDA has been exploring rulemaking to require companies to submit GRAS notices to the agency rather than allowing self-determination. Industry groups are expressing concerns about potential impacts on resources, as well as intellectual property protection and products already in commerce through legitimate self-affirmed GRAS determinations. The Trump administration's ongoing regulatory review initiatives continue affecting food policy development. The 10-for-1 executive order requiring agencies to target existing regulations for repeal when creating new rules has influenced the FDA's approach to new rule making. In May, HHS and FDA opened a request for information, asking stakeholders to identify regulations for potential elimination, with responses due July 14th. The stated goal is ensuring regulatory frameworks focus on genuine public health protection while reducing unnecessary barriers. Food manufacturers are currently balancing compliance with existing regulations while preparing for potential changes to GRAS pathways and front of package labeling requirements. Many companies are taking phased approaches to reformulation and labeling updates given regulatory uncertainties. The industry awaits clarity on which policies will proceed under the current administration versus those that may be modified or eliminated through ongoing review processes. These policy developments represent the most significant shifts in food regulation in recent years, requiring careful navigation by manufacturers, retailers, and nutrition professionals and health professionals across the food system. As we wrap up September's nutrition news, several key themes emerge from this past month. First off, we found that social media continues presenting challenges for accurate nutrition education, with September's viral trends highlighting both the problem and potential solutions as nutrition professionals adapt their communication strategies to meet audiences where they are at. The food industry's consolidation patterns intensified with September's $3.1 billion Ferrero and WK Kellogg merger, representing strategic positioning in an evolving marketplace shaped by changing consumer preferences and economic pressures. Research developments this month we found particularly in personalized nutrition, community-based interventions, and food biomarkers, offering promising directions for evidence-based practice and policy development. Meanwhile, the regulatory landscape continues evolving as the food industry adapts to new healthy definitions and prepares for potential changes to GRAS pathways and front of package labeling requirements. For nutrition, wellness, and industry professionals, September's developments underscore the importance of staying current with both the emerging science and policy changes, while actively engaging with digital platforms to counter misinformation through evidence-based communication. Thank you for joining us for September's Nutrition News Monthly. I'm MaryAnn Walsh, and I look forward to seeing you next month with more developments in nutrition science and policy.